This is crazy. This is literally crazy. Well, maybe it's not crazy, but it sounds crazy. And what's even more interesting about this, so Matt Gaetz, he was a nominee for President Trump to be the Attorney General, former congressman. Now he is a host of a news show. He made claims that a uniformed military officer told him about an alien-human hybrid breeding program. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Pretty wild, right? So what I think is even more interesting about what he claimed is, so I've been doing Leak Project now for over 10 years. I've interviewed hundreds of amazing people from around the world, and several interviews in particular that I'm thinking about, where I talked to people that were former military, told me about their alien abduction experiences. Now, one person is a retired submariner. He didn't even want his name to be fully disclosed. So we used a fake name. But his description of his experiences are very similar to another person that I know that I can't release their name, but I've interviewed them before, and you probably know who they are, but they're not ready to publicly come out yet because of their position with different projects in the military and the Defense Department. Very similar. So now when we have congressmen and retired or former congressmen coming out saying that there are alien human hybrid projects and programs behind the scenes with details that I'm going to give you in a minute, it's pretty wild. And also what I find interesting is the timing. Clearly the timing is suspect about some of these disclosures because of certain things that have been going on for the past year in the news and even longer than that. You know what I'm talking about. But it totally parallels people that I've talked to previously and people that I know personally and their experiences. So the question is, how long has this been going on? I think it's been going on for hundreds of years, possibly thousands of years. I don't think it's a new phenomenon. I don't think it's a phenomenon that happened when Roswell or after Roswell took place, the Roswell UFO crash in New Mexico. But let me share this information with you because I find this absolutely incredible. We're also going to look at the recent comment that Tim Burchett made. He is a congressman as well, a Republican, saying that he has heard about stuff going on in the ET circles that would keep people up at night. And then what about all of the missing people recently connected to black budget, black projects, highly classified systems and projects? They've disappeared. We're going to talk about several people, and another person of interest just came up. There could be like 8 different people connected to just one project that have gone missing. Very, very interesting. Now, if you are interested in this type of phenomena and these interviews, you should go to the leakproject.com website, and you should also check out the Patreon Leak Project, because I've got a bank of interviews, almost 10 years worth of interviews. And many of these interviews involve people that describe their experiences. Now, doing this for 10 years, I'm pretty good at, and what I think I'm pretty good at seeing who's full of it and who's being legit. And this is just wild, folks, especially when you look at these high-level officials and these high-level military people working on specific aerospace projects and missile projects that get abducted by what they refer to as the Greys. And they're not convinced that these Greys come from Zeta Reticuli. Actually, most of the people that I talk to about their experiences, they think that they're demonic, and they look at it from like a biblical perspective. Now, I don't see it that way, but I could see why they do because of their frightening experiences. But I think there's a lot more involved in that, and I want to share some of my ideas with you while we talk about this. Boomer Boost, Gladiator Barley. Have you got yours yet? If you haven't, what the heck are you waiting for? Click the link in the video description box, order some Gladiator Barley and Boomer Boost, and thank me later. Take the 30-day challenge. This stuff is awesome. This stuff is incredible. It is the cutting edge in nutrition. And let's get into the presentation right now. Oh, yeah. If you use the code REX20, you can save an extra 20% off. Set it up for auto ship. Get an extra 10% off. That's a 30% discount. They've got discounts on their products right now at the website, boomerboost.com. Really, really great stuff. So, okay, let's get into it. Let's talk about the first article that I wanted to share with you. And this is from theindependent.co. Let's go. Oh, and how are you doing today? Do you have your organic non-GMO popcorn? I hope so. Buckle up, buttercups. Let's go. Matt Gaetz claims military once briefed him on alien breeding program involving humans when he was in office. This reminds me of a gentleman that I think he did several hundred ET hypnosis regression. What's the word I'm looking for here? I just had a no. So if you've ever been hypnotized or if you've ever been regressed in a hypnosis session, it's pretty incredible. It might not be what you think it is, but it can be very effective. And Dr. Jacobs is his name. He did several hundred totally free hypnosis sessions with people that claim to have been abducted by the Greys. And most of them, if not all of them, described very similar experiences where these Greys didn't really understand they didn't understand certain aspects of human nature. Like, why do you get emotional? Why do you laugh? Why do you cry? Why do you go to the fridge and open it up and get food? What is that all about? You know, if they're so intelligent and so advanced, yet when it comes to certain aspects of emotion, they're lacking these emotional ideals and these emotional senses. So it's very, very interesting. And it reminds me a lot of what Matt described in his interview. So let's talk about this for a minute. And how's the audio? How's the video? All good? You just leave a comment. Let me know, because I've done interviews before and podcasts before where an hour later I looked at the chat and they're like, Rex, your audio's been off for an hour. And I'm like, oh, yeah. We all good? All right. Well, I will assume we are until you tell me no. So let's talk about this. Okay. Thank you very much, AMG. A series of extraordinary developments. We've got former Congressman Matt Gaetz, Congressman Tim Burchett, Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, cool name, missing scientists and military officials, and a growing Pentagon UFO disclosure pressure. These are all unfolding simultaneously. Individually, these events are separate. However, their timing and overlapping themes have drawn widespread attention, which I think they want. So let's talk about this specific article right here. Matt Gaetz claims military briefing on alien breeding program. Former U.S. Congressman Matt Gaetz claims he received a military briefing about an alleged alien human breeding program. According to Gaetz, a uniformed military officer told him the U.S. military captured non-human beings. These entities were alive. A breeding program was created. Humans were allegedly used to create hybrids designed to communicate with extraterrestrials. Additional details reported included 6 to 12 secret facilities, highly classified program, and a long-running operation. Gaetz claimed humans allegedly came from war zones, migrant populations, vulnerable populations, and the goal is to create hybrid communication species, facilitate contact with extraterrestrials. He did not personally witness aliens, he says. He did not verify the claims. No documents have been released, and no whistleblower has been publicly identified in this case. However, if you go back and watch some of the Leak Project podcasts, you can see dozens of whistleblowers that came out and listen to dozens of whistleblowers and connect the dots yourself. One of the cases that really fascinated me was the U.S. submariner and a gentleman by the name of Terry Lovelace. Terry Lovelace was in the military and he was at a place called Devil's Den when this experience happened with somebody else that was in the military. They were abducted also. And Terry, as frightening as it was for him and traumatic as it was for him, he managed to pull through and, keep up with life and deal with the reality of life and what it brings. But the person that was abducted with him was forever changed to the point of a downward spiral where he just basically drank himself to death. Very, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. But he described an experience. Let me see if I can pull this up here real quick and show you this. Yeah. It's interesting because I typed in leak project, Lovelace alien abduction case. And even though I've got it on my website and on Patreon, nothing came up on Google, obviously. I just got a text, not a text, but a comment. I read a comment the other day on the video, I think it was yesterday, where somebody said, Rex, I lost my phone, so I had to find leak project again. So with my new phone, I had to type in leak project, the entire leak project under YouTube for your website or for your channel to pull up. Like, I know it's like so ridiculous. I'm a dude in the basement talking about news and views of my own personal beliefs and ideas as well as others. And it's like, why do you have to suppress this information? Why do you have to just have some mainstream news source as the ideal source and then suppress all other alternative information? Like, what am I missing here? Like, really? But anyway, I've gotten used to it. It is what it is. Welcome to the new world, where they'll just suppress your views in any way they can if it doesn't fit their criteria, or if they're concerned you're going to release information that they might not want you to. Whatever. But this is the gentleman right here. His name is Terry Lovelace, and he's actually got a lot of coverage in other news articles that came out. You can go back and listen to the interview that I did with him on Leak Project. It was way better than any of these fluffy pieces that come out in the news, in my opinion. But it was absolutely frightening. And what he described was not only were they doing experiments on him and his friend, but he saw he saw humans in military uniform, as well as what he described as the Greys and extraterrestrials. I find that very interesting because I've heard a lot of different cases where that was the case. It wasn't just Greys, it wasn't just ETs, but it was also military involved. Now, can I verify this? No. But when you hear various reports from people that don't even know each other and people that don't want to come out publicly and disclose their names, it makes you do a double take on if they're legit or not. And I think he's legit. I think that I've interviewed people that are full of shit, and I've interviewed people that are absolutely 100% legit, in my opinion. Now, that doesn't mean everything they're saying is correct, but what they're saying they think is correct, and they're not making stuff up. Terry Lovelace, you should go back and listen to that interview. Also, this is interesting. Tim Burchett, Tennessee representative, Congress, Republican. He said Americans would be up all night if they knew alien truth. He's right. He's probably right. Let me tell you a little bit more about this. Congressman Tim Burchett issued new warnings about alien information. He said Americans would be up at night if they knew the truth. He had been briefed by federal agencies. Information could set the earth on fire. Americans would come unglued. He stated, I'm not suicidal. And these comments came after classified briefings, UFO disclosure discussions, and congressional investigations. Another thing about Matt Gaetz is he was involved in several briefings with UFOs and UAP technology. And he probably has a lot of information that he hasn't released about UFOs and UAPs. Matt Gaetz previously participated in UAP investigations, attempted access to classified UFO footage, reported being denied access at Eglin Air Force Base, later viewed advanced craft imagery. Congressman Tim Burchett said, well, I went through that with you. Burchett did not confirm alien breeding programs. He did not confirm Gaetz' claims, and he did not release documents, but he emphasized information is serious and concerning. Now, that's one thing I want to talk about with you is if you word something a specific way in the public, like as a representative, as a congressman or congresswoman, then you can put the blame or the information on somebody else. You know, like let's say you actually saw this program, but you couldn't officially say you saw the program. Well, what if you said something like, well, this military officer came up to me and described the program? Neurolinguistic programming. Very interesting. Now let's talk about this. Where is it? Congresswoman. Let me pull this up. Congresswoman Luna demands disclosure from Pentagon. So I think she's doing a great job right now. I really appreciate Anna Paulina Luna, which, by the way, if you're watching, great name. And thank you for presenting this information to the public. She is demanding the Pentagon and U.S. intelligence agencies release 46 specific classified videos. I wonder why 46. What's the numerology in that? I don't know. Of unidentified anomalous phenomena. And she demands it by April 14th. As chair of the House Task Force of the Declassification of Federal Secrets, Luna argues that withholding this footage threatens national security and hides truth from the public. She requested military cockpit footage, infrared footage, radar tracking data, satellite imagery, military encounter footage, and lawmakers cite national security concerns, unknown craft, military pilot encounters, advanced technology, metallic spheres, which Kristen and myself have seen one of these metallic spheres. I've mentioned this before. Daytime, it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Pagosa Springs. I'm in my car and boom, there's a metallic sphere at about the 11 o'clock position, approximately 50 feet off the ground, right freaking there. And I was like, holy, Kristen, I wish you would have seen that. And she goes, what, that disc? Or I think she said disc or saucer or something. She saw it too. We both saw it. I go to get my phone to take a picture. Boom, it's gone. I have another friend in Pagosa Springs that saw a metallic sphere in Pagosa Springs that was a little bit different, at least the way that she described it. She said that she saw engravings on it or something like that. So there have been multiple reports just here in this small town of Pagosa Springs of this phenomenon. Not to mention the general that recently went missing has a second home in Pagosa Springs. The FBI was searching his house in hopes of finding clues to where he went. What's also interesting is when he went missing, he took his revolver, a backpack, and hiking boots. Maybe he's out in the woods somewhere hiding out. Maybe he got a phone call that said, you better get out of Dodge because they're coming. There was a serviceman that showed up to his house an hour before he disappeared. Was that serviceman was he really just a technician? I mean, yeah, he was a technician, all right. I mean, I don't know, but I'm just speculating there. So reported sightings include metallic spheres, triangle craft, hypersonic objects, and underwater craft. I also want to say my personal opinion of the bugosphere. I think that's nonsense. I don't think that's legit. At least the stuff they're showing us of the bugosphere, that to me looks like a project that was done in art class. It doesn't look like an alien technology to me. I could be wrong, but I think that they're muddying the waters with this bugosphere. So that's just what my intuition is telling me. Triangle craft, hypersonic objects, underwater craft are some of the reported sightings. Lawmakers involved: Anna Paulina Luna, Tim Burchett, and other congressional members. Now let's talk about the missing scientists and military officials. Another vanished official could be tied to missing. This is the New York Post. Missing and dead U.S. scientists report. First, U.S. Air Force Major General William Neil McCasland. I shouldn't say first because there's other people that were connected to him that went missing before, but this was a piece of news that recently came out that's made a lot of news and made a lot of rounds. I was one of the first people in the alternative community to discuss this. And Major General William Neil McCasland is a retired U.S. Air Force Major General, a commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory. He oversaw classified aerospace programs, advanced propulsion systems, space weapons. He disappeared February 27th, 2026 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Nanu. Then reports come out of another missing person, Monica Jacinto Reza. She was an aerospace engineer, defense-funded propulsion research. She disappeared June 22nd, 2025 in the Angeles National Forest. She was with friends when she went missing. 1 second she's there, the next second she's gone. And her friends are like, where did she go? This reminds me of some of the missing 411 cases where people are in national forests or national parks and they go missing like that. Another person that could have connections to some of these projects that is missing is Melissa Casillas. She worked at the Los Alamos National Laboratory, nuclear research environment. She went missing in June of last year as well. So we've got two people that went missing in June of last year connected to highly classified projects involving aerospace, involving space propulsion and space weapons. Very interesting. Now, another person of interest that was killed is Carl Grillmeyer, a Caltech astrophysicist, a military-linked research. The death happened February of this year, the same month that the general goes missing. Interesting. Now, are they connected? I don't know, but it's very interesting timing. Additional reports, up to 8 people. NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory researcher, a Los Alamos staff member, a senior rocket engineer, and a defense space specialist. Read about this, New York Post. Now, the names of a few people have not been officially released yet. But the timeline, we can actually go back to 2024, 2025, where several scientists disappeared. Then in June, we have Monica Reza and Melissa Casillas. Then in February of this year, we have Carl Grillmeyer. Then in February of this year, we also have General McCaslin disappearing. Now, from March to April, we have the claims by Matt Gaetz, the Tim Burchett warning, and Congresswoman Luna demanding UFO videos be released from the Pentagon. Now, here's some common factors across these cases: aerospace research, nuclear programs, defense contracts, classified programs, and a close timeline. This is what is confirmed. Matt Gaetz made claims. Tim Burchett warning, Luna demanded videos, general missing, scientists missing, and 1 scientist killed. What is not confirmed: alien breeding program, no confirmed connection between missing scientists yet, and no confirmed conspiracy as of now. Very, very interesting. So I'll leave the links in the video description box. Now let's talk about some very interesting scenarios involving UAPs, potentially orbs, and closure of military bases. Before I get into that, though, did you know that the FBI has over 5,000 mystery drone sightings being reported to them in late 2024 alone, targeting sensitive areas across the U.S. Northeast? While many were deemed authorized or misidentified, recurring unauthorized incursions have targeted military bases, including the Barksdale Air Force Base in March of this year, which saw waves of 12 to 15 drones. They're not saying if they were drones or orbs, but they officially disclosed them as mystery drones, sparking high-level national security concerns. So the surge in 2024, we all remember this, over 5,000 reports between November and December, many of those in New Jersey. Then we have military incursions. Reports from 2025, early 2026 highlight continued unauthorized drones hovering over strategic military sites. Fort McNair, Barksdale Air Force Base. Investigation findings: while many reports in 2024 were attributed to authorized drones, hobbyists, or misinterpreted celestial phenomena like Venus, the brightest star in the sky. Well, it's a planet, but it's an amazing planet. Officials confirm a persistent threat from drones. Now, reports of swarms of drones showing resistance to jamming have also appeared this year. Between March 9th and 15th, Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana, housing B-52 nuclear bombers, or the B-52H nuclear bombers, experienced multiple waves of 12 to 15 mysterious and high-tech drone swarms. The incursions caused security alerts, temporary runway shutdowns, and the custom-built drones resisted jamming, prompting serious concerns about national security. Waves of 12 to 15 drones observed daily between March 9th and March 15th, excluding March 13 and 14. The drones described as having advanced non-commercial signal patterns capable of resisting military-grade jamming, like electronic warfare, caused temporary closures of runways to secure sensitive locations. Officials described them as high-tech and custom-built, indicating a deliberate, coordinated reconnaissance campaign. These incidents occurred amid heightened tension and reports of potential aerial threats, with PBS News noting similar drone swarms targeting various U.S. military assets. Wow. The origin of the drones have not officially been determined in the report period, but the incidents have prompted intense investigations, as noted by Defense Scoop. All right, what else I got? We've got Fort McNair, Washington, D.C. Oh, this is interesting. Listen to this. Unidentified drones were detected at Fort McNair, March of this year. Base houses top national security officials. Officials considered relocating personnel. The origin is unknown. Additional concerns, multiple base incidents. The U.S. Northern Command confirmed drone incursions at multiple installations. Counter drone systems activated. The investigation is ongoing. We don't know if these are orbs or or military drones or what, but they're classified as unidentified drones. They are not confirmed extraterrestrial. What is very interesting, though, is the coordinated swarms, the long-range control, the resistance to jamming, the multiple wave patterns. They have UAP-like behavior, advanced drone systems of unknown origins. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty wild, pretty wild. What do you think about all this? Think it's all BS? You think it's all just out there to muddy the waters and confuse people? I don't. I think the timing's ideal to sway attention towards other things, but I don't think it's fake. I think that this is absolutely real. And I wouldn't be surprised within the next 6 months, we have a lot more activity with unexplained phenomena. Now, my personal feelings, my personal intuition, some of it is non-human intelligence, and most of it is human intelligence or military technologies from various countries and various nations and various defense projects. But I think there's a small percentage that's non-human intelligence, or maybe advanced human intelligence. Like maybe these are humans that have been around for thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years, and they've figured out a way to extend their lives. We're at a point now where there are projects in place working on extending lives, like life expansion technologies. They're giving us little bits and pieces in the news, but imagine a civilization that can travel the stars. You don't think they're going to have the technology to extend life? What about the report I shared with you just a couple of days ago, where scientists have figured out how to reanimate pig brains? There's a company out there, there's a startup company in California that is getting massive funding to clone bodies so that they can potentially transfer the consciousness of another person into this cloned body, and that person can live forever. It reminds me of Altered Carbon or The Island or The Sixth Day are just a few examples. We have supercomputers now that can calculate quadrillions of floating points per second. Use these technologies to figure out how to extend life and how to extend telomeres, etc. We could see a very bright future. We could also see a very war-driven future with these technologies. But have you ever heard the saying, no good deed goes unpunished? Have you ever heard the saying, every action has an opposite and equal reaction? So let's focus on the positive. I'm an optimist. I want to continue to be an optimist, and I hope you do too, because optimism, especially when you have enough people that are optimistic, it's like that mind meld. We're powerful beings. We're very powerful beings. And I think once we understand that Maybe that's what the biggest secret is we are so powerful that there's something out there that wants to keep our abilities suppressed within five senses. They don't want us using our sixth sense and others, because if we could activate our sixth sense, and I'm sure some of you can sometimes, it's actually not that difficult sometimes. But anyway, if you can read somebody's mind, you're going to know if they're a threat or not. Imagine somebody that could just walk up to, I got to be careful how I put this. But let's say there's somebody out there that works on a bunch of top secret projects, and you have a mind reader that just walks past that person or greets them. Hey, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. And then during that quick interaction, they literally tap into their mind and pull out all those secrets. Or let's say somebody's a threat or somebody's a problem. You're going to know that by your sixth sense. And I think your intuition is a big part of that. So trust your instincts, folks. And thanks for watching. Have a beautiful day. Be excellent to each other. Leave your comments in the comment section. Would you do me a huge favor? Would you share this video out with 2 or 3 people you know? Just like send them a link on their phone or put a post on Facebook. It's greatly appreciated. So I really appreciate you, and I really appreciate all your support. I love all the awesome comments. Sometimes I feel like I need to start Venmoing people because they're leaving such amazing comments. So thank you for that. That means a lot to me. It inspires me to keep doing this. So I appreciate you. And check us out on Patreon. Like, you could be a Patreon for $5, and that helps substantially. You could be a Leak Project member for $10 a month, and you get access to a 10-year bank of podcasts and awesome stuff you're not going to get anywhere else. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Be the change you want to see. Thank you. I'm going on a bike ride. Hello.